Hi folks, this is all the fruit and I decided to dedicate yet another video to the giant cycad or the bread fern. This is the biggest of all Cycadaceae and surprisingly it's also a fruit tree. Yeah, well, when I say it's the biggest of all Cycadaceae, in nature it's being said that it can grow to 10 meters tall. With the leaves a couple more meters, I saw something about 5 or 8 meters. It's said that the stems, when lying down, can get up to 18 meters in length. That the thickness of the stems can be up to 1.5 meters. This is massive for a cycad, folks. This is really massive. Was discovered in the Congo, or was it in Angola? Well, I think it was in the Congo and in Angola. Was discovered in 1901, and pretty soon after that at least one, maybe two specimens were planted in Malaga, male specimens, both of them, unfortunately. Well, a female one was planted in Tenerife, in the botanic garden of Puerto de la Cruz. Yeah, well, so they started out cleverly. They collected male and female plants and then they planted them 2,000 kilometers apart. Or maybe 3,000, quite far apart. Well, what can you do with such a bread fern? Well, the funny thing is you can eat the stem. The stem contains a lot of high quality starch which you can basically chisel out or flush out of the stem and use for bread. The Hottentots, they seem to have wrapped it in animal skin, left it in the ground for, what was it, 2 months or 2 years, and then made bread out of it. Also, the seeds are toxic. It has giant cones. The ones I saw were like well over 1/2 meter and probably dozens of kilograms heavy. The seeds are toxic, but they are surrounded by an edible layer, which I've tried in small amounts in laurentianus and in bigger amounts in smaller species. Of course, no edible layer here. Those are all male cones. Well, they're also quite long but quite thin, and that's what they look like, the male ones. So it seems to be quite a popular plant with a lot of animals, also with our closest relatives, the monkeys. The baboons, they like to grab the giant female cones and carry them with them for a long time until they suck the pit off all the seeds. The smaller species I tried, the pit was basically like, you know, those stuffed jalapenos you get in US fast food shops. They are stuffed with an orangish stuffing which tastes basically exactly like the stuff surrounding the seeds. So yeah, I can confirm those baboons and other monkeys, they are not stupid, they know what they eat. Well, so about 120 years ago they planted 1 or 2 male plants here in Malaga and a female one on Tenerife. And 100 years later, somebody had a great idea to take the pollen from here, bring it to Tenerife and pollinate the female plant. And nowadays, young Encephalartos laurentianus grow in many parks on Tenerife and also in parks on the European mainland. And they fruit. I've seen several specimens with cones, with unripe or ripe cones on the island of Tenerife. And probably, I don't know, this is the oldest Encephalartos laurentianus or bread fern I've seen in Malaga. There is a second one, almost as big as it, on the other side of this house. Well, that this plant is something very special is also noted in the description of the park. In the botanical description of the park, it says big biodiversity and so on. Most notable of all is the ancient specimen of Encephalartos laurentianus or bread fern at the corner of the customs building. Well, here is the customs building. The problem is it's more or less rounded, but I guess that this here along this little street, which might be among the 10 narrowest streets in the world. That this can be counted as a corner. So this must be the most ancient specimen. Gigantic for a succat. I mean, most of them have a stem 1 or 1.5 meters tall at best. And this one, well, the stem is about 5 meters tall. The leaves at another 2.5 meters. Just amazing, this ancient thing. Well, I wouldn't have paid so much attention to it, especially since I had already made a couple videos about the species. If somebody didn't ask me, please record some of those ancient Succadaceae from the Malaga area. By that time I already had recorded it, like short sequence in the longer video about the Bosquecillo de los Pesitos, the little grove of the little kisses. Yeah, that's the name of the park. But now I thought, well, one of the most unusual fruit trees in the world, a literal monkey fruit, so I'll make a longer video about it. So folks, this is maybe the oldest and most impressive Succadaceae that you will ever see in your life. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful and fruit-rich city of Malaga and its little grove of the little kisses. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.